Hi there everybody, it's UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator Halsey here from slimandstylish.com. Thank you for joining me today. Today I have this cute little Christmas card using somewhat alternative Christmas colours because I've put black in it. I do like black at Christmas. I think black can be quite classy, and I've put it in with cherry cobbler just to give it a pop at the back. So these gorgeous little berries here are all 3D and they stick up. And I think they're gorgeous. So I'm going to show you how to do that. I'm using the Frosted Foliage stamp set. Try saying that 10 times quick. Go on, try. Tongue twister. So I'm using this stamp here, and I'm also using the stamp on top, sending you a little Yuletide cheer. Now, I stamped this in Stays On. You could do it in what do I want to say? Whisper White embossing powder so it pops out. I'm not going to. I'm going to keep it like this because I think it's quite classy. Up to you though. Let me get started. So first of all, you want your backing sheet of paper. This one here. I've cut this at 9.5 centimetres by 13.8 centimetres. I have a load of cardstock cut like this, and it's what I always use as my layering sheet at the back. And then the red sheet is always 0.5 centimetre more, so it will be 14.3 centimetres, and it will be 10 centimetres and 14.3, that way round. If you're working over in America, I know you have different size cardstock, so just go 1/4 of an inch in for your colour and then another 1/4 of an inch in for your Whisper White. So as I said, I'm going to use this one and I'm going to pop it onto a H block. I'm also going to get my sentiment out ready. I'm going to be using the Stamparatus with that, so I'm just going to pop it to the side. Right, Memento ink, because we're using our blends. Actually, talking of which, I'm just going to pop a little bit of scrap grid paper underneath, because sometimes the blends go through the paper, and I don't like my filming pad to get messy. It does get messy, and then I have to rip one straight off the top because I don't like sitting with it messy, so then I just think it's a bit of a waste. There we go. Now with this, you want to stamp it round, but what I did was I did this branch 3D, this branch not, this branch 3D, this one not. So try and keep to the same pattern so you don't have two at the end that either is or isn't. So if we say that is not, is, and you want to just keep turning the paper around in a circle. It's easier to turn the paper than the stamp. Is not. Is, do you know, I've got a draft coming in right behind my, it's ever so cold behind my neck. I'm wondering if I've left a window open. It's tipping it down with rain outside and it's so cold, and I can just feel a real breeze coming across my neck. I might have to check that in a minute. I'm going to pop another, I'll wait till the end and see if I'm going to pop a little one there. We'll see how we're going. So is, isn't, is, isn't, is, isn't. Is. Oh, I've still got my bottom sheet dirty. Typical. Is, isn't, is, isn't, is, isn't, is, isn't, is. So I want another one just there, and that will work it out right. Right, so what we're going to do now, oh, you know, it's really annoyed me. I might as well move that off because I'll have to get a new backing sheet. Silly me. I'm bringing in my Cherry Cobbler Stampin' Blends, and what you want to do, I'm just going to show you on this little one here, is where the line is, you want to go over it there with your dark Stampin' Up blend. And then you want to come over it with your lighter Stampin' Up blend. So this is what I did. I actually did the whole card. I'm not going to do the whole card for you. I've got another piece that I've already done to kind of shorten the video up. So I'm just going to show you on this bow. But what I actually did do was I did all of the dark, then come in with all of the light. And then I got my fine tip glue pen. I love this. I hardly ever use this for glue. I just use it for effectiveness. You could put some Wink Stella on it now to make it glittery before you do it. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to come in with my fine tip glue pen and I'm going to pop the clear glue over the top of each berry. Okay. So it sits like that. And it's such a gorgeous effect. And then I'm going to leave it to dry. So like I said, I put the glue on every other one so that it created effect of a raised one, a not raised one, a raised one, a not raised one. And when you finish colouring them all in and dry them all, it will look very Blue Peter style like that. So these ones have been done and the ones in the middle haven't, and it just gives it some texture, I think. I'm hoping you can really see that in the light. I'm hoping it shows up for you. So I'm now just going to stick that to my cherry cobbler background. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Don't do that. Pause. I'm going to use my Memento ink and my sponge dauber. And I'm going to come in and I'm just going to sponge all of the background. I almost forgot that bit. That would have been embarrassing. So I'm just doing it to add some effect. I didn't want to mount this onto black. I wanted to mount it onto red so that it gave it some pop. But I did still want that sort of shading on it so it ties up with the black sentiment in the middle. I like sponging around the edge of cards. I think it just makes it look a bit softer sometimes. There we go. I hope you weren't making along with me, and if you were, I hope I caught you by pausing it. Stop! I've made a mistake. Just going to glue it onto the background now. You're all safe to glue onto the background now. Now I had lots of little strips. When I cut my paper, I always seem to get strips because I cut it at 10 centimetres and 10 centimetres, and our paper is just over sort of 21. You get a strip like this at the end. I keep them because I always think they're great for just adding extra bits of details onto cards. So I have a plant pot actually that is full of just strips of different coloured pieces of paper. So I've just grabbed this one out. I'm going to stick it across the middle. There we go. Trim that down to the size of the card. So that's your card front pretty much ready to go. So I'm just going to move it off to the side while I do the stamping. I'm using my Stamper Artist. Because this is a cling mount, I have only got one foam bit in. If it's a photopolymer, I'll put 2 foam bits in just to lift it up. And I'm stamping onto vellum. Okay, so I'm going to be using my Stays On ink. Just pop that there. And I'm just going to ink that up. There's one. I'm going to stamp it a couple of times because I want the sentiment to really pop. Okay, vellum takes a couple of minutes. Well, Stays On does as well, so it will take just a couple of seconds to dry. So while I'm going to do that, I'm going to use my new stamp cleaner. Have you seen these? These are amazing. It was in the catalogue, but it's hidden in the annual catalogue, and it took me... When am I filming this? I'm filming this in October and this came out in June. So it took me sort of this long to get it. But this is stays on ink, so this won't come off. If I just get my chamois, and it will still leave the dark black on the bottom. So if you use the new cleaner over the top, and then the chamois, you do definitely want to use the wet chamois afterwards, because the chemicals on the cleaner can be damaging to your stamps if you don't wipe it off and you just leave it. But there's my chamois on there, perfectly clean. That doesn't happen all the time with stays on ink, so I think that's a great little thing in the catalogue, and so hidden you wouldn't know it was there. So that's the end of my Stamparatus. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to trim this. I've just left my trimmer over there. I'm just going to grab it. Let's do the measurements. I've got my piece of black backing here, and that is 3 1/4 inches by 2 1/8 of an inch, and my vellum is 3 inches. So I want to do this at just under 2 inches. So anyone in the UK, I'm going to do it at 5 centimetres, but if you're outside the UK, it's just going to be underneath. 2 inches, so just there. Okay, I'm going to come back in with my stamp from earlier, and I'm also going to be using stays on. I'm just going to clean that up because I dropped it, didn't I? I don't want all the ink on my block, otherwise it will transfer onto me. Vellum, so I'm just going to use the stays on again. I'm only going to stamp this one once. I'm not going to do the double stamping, and I'm going to stamp it around the edge. And the reason I'm doing this will become very clear to you as we go along, because vellum, if you use it, is very hard to stick down. So these little berries are just going to hide the adhesive for me. I'm just going to stick a couple at the top. There we go. See, this was why I normally put something underneath. I don't like making my grid paper dirty, but like I said, as it's dirty already, I'm just going to give that a couple of seconds. So while I'm doing that, I'm going to stick this onto my base. My base cardstock is a sheet of A4 cut in half, so this is actually 11.5 centimetres, and I've scored it dead in the middle so I can fold it down and burnish it. There we go. And I'm going to use my snail to stick this down. You could use tear and tape, Tombow, you know, whichever one you wanted to. I haven't put it up on a dimensional because I'm going to put the sentiment up on a dimensional, and I didn't want to make it too 3D, but it's up to you. There we go. And I also have the black shimmer ribbon. Love this, it's so gorgeous. It's got like a gold glitter running through. It's a beautiful ribbon, but it's quite a firm ribbon, so once you've actually made your bow, it stays in place even though it's silky, because I normally shy away from silky ribbons because I can never get them to stay in place, she says, as this one pops out. Don't you dare. But this one's quite a simple one, really. I don't want it to be too big a ribbon. There we go. Have a little fiddle. There we are. And this should be ready now. So I'm going to turn it upside down, and I'm going to come in with my blends again. I'm going to start off with the dark. There's a dot on each one. I love these berries. I think they're so gorgeous. I feel I've underused them this year as well, because I do really like them. When I bought the set, this was the stamp that I bought the set for. You know, quite often you buy a set and there's one stamp in there that you love and you know you're going to use. this berries stamp was going to be the one in this set. And I honestly haven't used it as much as I thought I would, so I do need to give it a bit more love because it's beautiful. I did one, it will be on my blog, and I did all the berries blue and purple. I know that's a bit wrong for Christmas, but I thought it looked really effective. It was quite pastels. Quite like that. If you can get a blended image onto your vellum, it's really good for hiding the glue dots when you stick them down, but you want to make sure the glue dots are flat. I'll show you that in a second. Almost there. And like I said, you could heat emboss this and do it white, but I don't think that that would look as effective of the black, truthfully. It was my plan to do that. I was planning to do that, but I didn't. And then I thought about making this red, but it just didn't look right on red. I like it with the black, but I know it won't be everyone's choice, so that's why I'm giving you different options. So pick the big berries and just stick your glue dots flat behind them. Vellum is quite lightweight, so you only really need to put about 3 glue dots on it. Go there. And then just pop it on top of the black. There we are. I'm going to pop that up with some dimensionals. It in the middle of my card. And then a glue dot on the back of my bow. And there we go. What do you think? I quite like it. Let me know. All of the details are over at slimandstylish.com on my blog. If you want to purchase any of the items that you saw in today's video, if you just go to the top of my blog and hit buy, it will take you to my store and all of the products will be there. Thanks for joining me today. I'll see you soon. Bye.